Can you do it?
Ja, ja. If it's in the room, it's fine.
So welcome everybody, my name is Fanie Reynders. As you noticed, this is not tonight, the night for SDN Cast. Well, I'm going to be live coding. I'm going to be doing it in English this time because I feel more comfortable in doing it in English. Welcome to the show. The idea is for me to do a monolithic port of a legacy application, of a legacy port of a monolithic application rather to a serverless cloud native technology stack on Azure. So hopefully we can get going with this. This will be sprint 0. I don't expect much coding going on in this episode. I would like us to go through the current app, if you may, and to check it out. Maybe you guys can give me some tips or some ideas what we can do to split this thing up to make it more cloud native. So I hope you enjoyed the show, and let's get cracking. So let's get cracking again. Yes. See, this happens when you have so many streams and screens and stuff happening on your monitors and stuff. Let me just see if I'm in the view yet. That should be fine. Here we go. I'm ready if you are ready. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm actually going to show you my screen. Let me just see. I've got this application. So let me give you some example of what paint you the picture of what I'm actually trying to do. This is a job card kind of program that I've written for my folks like a while ago. They've been using it for like 10 plus years already. It's still working fine. They've been recently asking me to put in some more features and stuff, which I've done. But after a while, you don't have any time left or anything. So what you end up doing is you end up putting it back and maybe hacking it a bit more and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it got stale and I lost the source code. So I'm stuck with one exe that I found on her computer the other day. So let me just quickly share my screen. There we go. Hopefully you guys can see what's going on my screen. By the way, on the left I've got a chat running, so if you would like to sort of code with me or chat with me, be my guest, it will pop up on the screen and then I can actually see it. I'm seeing what's happening with this sound. Is actually a bit annoying. It sound in my ears. I think that's much better. Oops, mixer. I wonder if you can actually see this. So this is all the dependencies, and to give you some example, let me just quickly open up this application. It's called Reynders Job Card. Now, Reynders was the company that I've sort of tried to do with my folks and stuff, and actually ended up dropping it. In any case, this is Reynders Job Card. It's a VB.net application that I've written long ago, and basically what it does is doing job cards. So in the business of like a plumbing or building or something, you use this program, you log into your company and you issue job cards for your employees to do their jobs, and they record their timesheets on it, etc. At the end of the day, it gets funneled back into a invoicing system, which is not the system, it's a separate system called Pastel in South Africa. But in any case, so all of these workings, and this is not a big app, this is a very, very small app. As you can see, I've got like a few companies here. Let me just log into this one. Call this, you just sign in with the password, for instance, and so I'm actually switch off on this blur here, because there's some sensitive information. So on top here, you've got, just quickly zoom in here. I can do that. Will it work? There we go. On top here, you have basically my information, which is the company's information, my customers, your job cards, and then sort of a backup and restore functionality to do that. So my information is just a basic normal Windows form pop-up showing Willow building projects. That's the fake company I've sort of made for this. Actually, oh, okay, there we go. Forgot to take off the blurring side. So basically, you can update your company details. For other words, set a logo, names, telephone numbers, and stuff like that. And then here on top you have my customers. Put the blur on again just for privacy sakes. Then you would see that you have a list of customers. So it's like a full text search. This will be your CRM, if you may. Just clear the list for privacy sake. And here it's pretty much simple. You can create a new customer. And interesting thing here, if you create a new customer, is that you can create 2 separate types of customers. I think my mic is a bit soft. Let's see what they say. Hold on. There we go. That's much better. Now, let's party. So you can create 2 types of customers, a private customer and a company customer, because you can always build, the company can always build a different company for their things. And the fields are quite straightforward. You have your account number, name, client ID number, addresses, telephone numbers, and a bunch of other contact details. But the company, it's additional information comes with it. So now you deal with registration numbers, you deal with directors' information and managers' information and stuff like that. This was an explicit requirement to put it in like this between the company and private, but we can actually think about how we're going to be splitting this up later when we actually build our thing. Now, same goes for edit and for delete and stuff like that. Just want to put this blur on again. Yeah, if you want to be, you can click one, you can edit one. The same goes for those details. You can also go and delete one, etc. Then if you go to my job cards, this is where the fun happens. So this is the list of all your pending job cards, all your completed job cards. For instance, I don't think I've got any completed today. And let's look at the fields. So obviously the stock standard stuff is available here. You can always search here. And if you say new job card, these are the things that's going to be taking up most of the time. And the idea that I have for this application is to split it up functionally, so that you have a customer module and a job cards module and a company, maybe a company mobile module, but let's call it account module, which is the overall system. So the idea is that one team can later on focus on one module or modules, for instance, and there are complete splits in functionality instead of one big front end, back end, and with microservices. I would like to split it up functionally from front end all the way back. So let's see how it will work and how it will play out. I'm getting a few messages here as well on my phone. Just want to see if there's someone that's trying to ping me. Absolutely not, so we can actually continue. Right, so what is these information? What are these information rather? So you have a date, you have a team, that's just a free text field you can fill in. And then what you can do is you can then select either an existing customer. You know, if you're gonna be doing a lookup, you can be searching for a customer. You can pick one, or you're going to be creating a customer on the fly, because normally that happens, you know, when you don't have a customer listed in your CRM. You want to be quick way of creating it quickly, but it should be not intrusive. It shouldn't stop the person doing the job card adding a customer. Having said that, there might be fields that he doesn't know at the time, so maybe just ask him his required fields instead of just showing all the fields here, because that's a bit intrusive, I would say. Okay. Yeah, there's a customer selected, for instance. You can add his account number, and that's obviously important now for the invoicing purposes later on. Okay, so the first screen is the general screen. This is where you sort of give you an overview of what the actual or what the address of the problem is, where it is. For instance, is this property rented out? You know, and if it's rented out, you need the details of the tenant, like maybe his identification number or his telephone number, etc. Then there are other fields like quoted price and invoice number, and like payment methods, is it cash, check, or etc. The next screen is also a plain and simple screen. It's the problem and feedback screen, and so this is where you're actually going to be recording the problem at hand. So if there's a pipe leak, it's going to be saying, okay, there's water leakage somewhere in the bathroom, etc., etc. And this form will be filled back in by the agent going out to fix the problem, and continually putting in feedback or adding what he has done to solve the problem. You know, maybe adding some notes on the part numbers, etc. But I'll get to that in a sec. Timesheet. This is where you can record his time, you know, his hours started, ended, and hours spent. His travel and mileage, you know, how many kilometers that he did, has he done. Also, what is the vehicle registration number, and other stuff, you know, basically a empty notebook of what's happening. At the end of the day, then you can save this job card or just print it out. And I think this was going to be a challenging thing to do the reporting, because I am unsure what's the best technologies in the cloud that we can use to do reporting. I've been using Active Reports for this specifically, and you know, obviously when I be moving on the cloud, and I don't know what the options are, we're gonna be navigating together to see what are the options of doing reports. So in any case, so the problem is at hand, and then the guy goes out with the job card. In this case, it's just a printed piece of paper, but to keep record of what has been done, and you know, all the hours and stuff is important for the company to track the hours and to sort of know what happened when. So this is actually quite interesting data if you're going to be putting machine learning over it, for instance. So in any case, at the end, you want to be completing this job. For other words, you want to be persisting this the state of this job card, so it's completed. It's not changeable anymore. You can just open it up to print. So we can do interesting stuff with that technologies as well. Just want to see if I can quickly show you guys a job that's been completed. Let's just go to print, for instance. So this is basically a job that has been it's like it's got its own viewer and stuff. You can be able to export this as a PDF file. You can email it to someone, for instance, the stock standard stuff, you know. And yeah, so I've got these designs still, so we can maybe make use of this. You want to be able to print out a job card, but you also want to be able to, I think, print out a customer, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just quickly see, because I think I just open a customer. Doesn't look like. Oh, you know what? Everything's coming back to me. So the design of the job card obviously looks different from a company versus a private person. So unfortunately I can't show you, but maybe it's basically the fields that I've just explained, the private and the customer, the private and the company fields. That's basically it. So, oops, there we go. So let's go back to my information, or actually just clear this thing. I'm not really, oh, there we go. It cuts off me for some reason. So I can fix that. There we go. I'm above the blur. Alright, so this is basically the application, and look, the last node or button rather is just a basic maintenance thing, whereby because the data is on-prem, it needs to be backed up, and they needed sort of a mechanism to sort of back it up and restore the data. But this is out of scope, I think, for this project. A couple of things that we need to now remember is now we need to split this application up into a few things, like a few notions. So I don't even have, let me just see if I can find, is this Notepad? Let's just open Notepad for now. Should be fine, right? Okay, so how do I change this font? Yeah, make it a bit bigger, like this. Right. So what do we need for this application to actually work? We also need some kind of shell, I would say, to keep everything together. And then we have, company information. And this is basically your account or job card, company account. And it contains basically any updates you can do. What's also interesting about that is if you go to my information, you could also go to users. This is one point that I've actually forgot. I just want to go back if I can maybe clear this. You guys didn't see that, hopefully not. So one point that I missed was you've got your general information, your company information, and then you have your users. Very important point I've actually missed. In this case, you have administrator, that's full access, master, God mode about everything, and then you have your normal users that has limited access to certain things. I can imagine that a normal user cannot have access to backup and restore or deleting job cards, whereby a user, meaning a admin user, can. For instance, a normal user cannot delete a customer or delete a job card, whereby administrator can. So it's these things we need to sort of keep in mind when we are building this thing. So another thing we need to say, we have our general and we have our users, user management. Immediately when I think user management, for this, taking it to the cloud, it's going to be tricky. How are we going to be doing this? Are we going to be putting this in Azure AD? What are we going to do? Azure AD B2C? Because Azure AD B2C is more focused on this customer's customer instead of just this customer's users. So Azure AD might be a good fit, but let's investigate. Maybe Azure AD B2C is a much better fit later on. I don't know, we'll see. Okay, so we've got company information. What else do we have? I just want to do this like this, and I think my music's gone. No, there we go. Good, nice music going on. Yeah. So by the way, this is like the second time ever I'm doing like a stream live coding. It's getting better. just trying to find my feet still on how to do a few things. There you guys. So we've got user management. What else do we need? Obviously we have customers, right? We have the customers, which is basically the CRM. In here we want to be able to, I'm just going to say CRUD private users. Like let's call them commercial customers, or let's not call them commercial customers. Let's call them consumers. And we want able to go CRUD business customers. Business consumers, or whatever the case may be. So that's that. And then that also has sort of rules towards it on what and who and how. And the third aspect, which is not that bad, is the actual job card, job management. So if we go back to job management, we've got a list of jobs. You can do CRUD. I don't know why you ever want to be deleting a job card. Let me just see. Yeah, that's an interesting thing we need to remember. Just gonna put in searches. Like a sort of a non-functional, I would say. Job management, we have the ability to filter. Let's sort of filter jobs, and we could, in this case, create new, edit, and delete. Let's just call it CRUD up jobs. And then a job has few fields, so it's got like your general problem feedback, timesheet. Let me see. So it's got all these other things. Team allocated. I don't know if that is a problem. If we leave that out for now, well, I don't know why it should be sort of required. The red asterisk means it's required, so I have no idea why is it required. So let's just see. So okay, so let's go like that, and we say okay, CRUD jobs, and we want to be able to go general. We want to be doing problem and feedback. Time management. And then also, I don't know what's the best way of doing this, travel, this mileage. Militaire. And then it's got sort of a notes. Maybe the notes should be a, but notes is basically, the notes are basically tied to a specific job card. Alright, that's basically the idea. So what we're going to be doing now is, like I said, sprint 0, I don't think we're going to be getting to any code now. So as we move on, please give me your feedback, and then let's see if we can build something cool out of this. I had some last minute people that had to cancel, sort of my live coding buddies, but they obviously had something more important to do, and next time we will have them with us. So let's actually go in and see a bit cool stuff, how we're going to be setting up this project. For instance, let's start with first things first. Let's go set up this repo. Funny enough, let me just tell you this other story. I've got this the exe, and you might have asked, okay, how are we going to be looking into this do this code. So I just used ILSpy. Actually, I ended up using what's that system called again? JetBrains. I can't remember. Let's just Google it again. It's JetBrains ILSpy. I wonder if it's will pick it up. Yeah, .peak. I used .peak, and because it was a VB.NET application, you know, you can obviously use ILSpy and stuff. I ended up reverse engineering this whole thing to, where is this thing now? Okay, this is not here. Let me just see dev into source. So I ended up recompiling it back, or reverse engineering it back to a C# project. So a few components that's very important with this application. Not that it's actually interesting, but I thought, well, let me just tell you guys anyway. You've got your main one, which is the job card one. Then you have the data access layer, which is obviously the layer that communicates the data. And then finally, I used my own kind of entity framework. It's called the Raytech Data Framework for those infrastructure SQL query kind of things. And then there is the business logic, which is called job card functions. Job report, which is the reporting project. I have not reverse engineered that. There's a Raytech soft button. That's the little component that gives you this little glowing kind of effect. It's quite cool. If you do have a Windows application, it will still work there. It's supposed to still work there because I've just recompiled this back to .NET 2, but I suppose it can work on .NET Core as well. There's nothing that stops it from doing it. Let me just see here. There's a few reports here. That one. Company with tenant and a company. Oh, that was the actual difference. There's 4 types of reports. Let me just actually add it to the reports. Right, that's what we've got. Here we have a company. And we have a company. 1, 2, 3, jump. Let's go. Let's just call this private. Let's talk the same language here. An optional tenant. And then we have business customers. We can also have tenants in. So in essence, it was I did it with 4 types of reports, but obviously we can see how we're going to be doing it on design principle. What else do we have here? There's the lookup window. That's a sort of a component that gives you that lookup functionality that we won't use at all. But what was really interesting is this Raytech crypto framework, and basically it has 2 functions, decrypt and encrypt, and it's just underlyingly using .NET's infrastructure to encrypt stuff. Right, so yeah, and the funny thing is how are we gonna actually, if we close this up, my question is more like if I sign out, we need to support multi-tenancy. It's also a thing. Alright, so that means I've got my companies, and how this works is you can create more companies to it and connect to it. So in this case, I've got a Fanie Reynders company, and underlyingly what this is, it can't even connect to it. I don't think it works. No, it won't. Underlyingly what it does, if I go to this Fanie Reynders, it's basically calling in all JCC files in your system and bringing them into that view. So if you open this up, I see it's sort of cannot connect because the server doesn't exist. I open this up with code. You can see that there's the name of the company in display name. Then you have the SQL server and the instance and the server or whatever. The instance, the server and the instance, the server and database. And no, I'm incorrect here. You have the server and the instance. And then you have the database name. So it reads it in those 3 lines. It's simple as that, but we can do it in a different way than this. Right, enough babbling about stuff. So we need searching, we need multi-tenancy. Let me save this quickly to our let's call this job card vnext, for instance, project. Okay, cool studio. Right. So this is the basic notes. Out of the top of my head, this is what I came up with. And let's quickly look at a code. It's like I had to change the code to go into the application because the SQL Server. I obviously had to install SQL Server on my machine to sort of make it work. Restore a database that I got from a backup like long ago. But having only exes won't work because it uses the SA SQL SA username and password to connect, and I couldn't really remember what it was, and I didn't obfuscate my code, luckily. So I just used .peek to sort of reverse engineer it, and I found out that let me just see if I can find it now quickly here, that it was actually ZSA, the password, and I didn't really want to compile it again and just change it and make changes on it, although you can, but it's also cool to have the code and look at it, maybe to reuse some of the objects, because we're going to be coding, but we also need to sort of be clever about, are we going to be reinventing the wheel, which is going to be duplicating code, or what are we going to be doing? And this is not the right one. This is actually just the normal things that was all inline SQL. Forgive me, but that's how it worked back then. Let me just actually not open this up. Actually, want to open this up in a solution. Why? I see. This was the solution. There we go. I hope you like the tunes playing in the background. So, okay, as you can see, we've got our data access layer and our entity framework thing going on. From that level on, it's just making a connection. There's a field. What is this? That's a data connection. So this is the only change I've made basically to the code, and I've swapped this constructor. When it creates a connection, it asks you for a username and password. So I've just sort of swapped it around to allow you to use integrated security instead of SA username and password. Underlyingly, the thing just works fine. So for the example I just showed you, I just took the Raytech data framework and made it forced to use a integrated security things. But in case, we probably won't use a lot of this kind of code. If we go to the actual job card itself, there's these other forms here I see that's never been used even. The employee form. Oh my soul, we need to sort of figure out how we're going to be adding this. This doesn't even want to open up. Name type, all these things doesn't work. Do we have code? Yeah, at least we've got some code. So there's some fields of the system. Do we have other things here? The components. Let me just see. There's the grids. There's the customer image list. All sorts of stuff that doesn't really make sense to actually see if we can reload this or reuse this. Maybe at the dull. I think some of these things like a customer. These objects we can maybe reuse, but I doubt it because it's got like table fields and stuff in it. What's in dull general? There's like helpers and stuff. It's funny to see Visual Basic strings in C# project. This is a general, and now we have got select star from payment methods and backup database functionality. Let's actually take a look at the SQL schema. It's actually very important. I'll make a snapshot of that and just put it in the epic, maybe for us to modernize this thing a bit more. I am gonna be cutting off the stream after an hour, so that it doesn't go on and on and on. So let's say there's there's the database. So we have company information, customer, employee team. Employee is out of scope. I just said it as employee. You have job, and a job has job kilometers, job problem detail, job team, job timesheet, payment methods, users, and a team, for instance. I wonder if there's a database diagram we can actually show this on. How does this work? I'm not a DB guy. I wonder if there's actually primary keys set up here. This is like going back into my young days. Cool. So we've got some referential integrity here. Look at company, timesheets not linked, job problem details not linked, job kilometers. I could have expected that it's been linked to a job, like this for instance. It's got a customer with all these fields, so it's just one table. There's a team, and a team is linked on an employee, which is not on the screen. And then, what is the difference between a job team and an employee team? This is a bit confusing. It's not so bad, this database design. And we'll keep that open for now. Alright, so let's start with a actual clean slate. I'll grab this up here and see. So let's go to GitHub. Sign into GitHub, and now let's create our project. Do we want to do this in, this is an open source project, I would say. Or do we want to do this in Azure DevOps? Thinking about it now. Let's do this in GitHub. I think this is a good way of You can always port it wherever you want to. Any suggestions of names? Just call it job card V next. Let's take that. And opinionated port of legacy WinForms app to Azure. Great, so we initialize that with a README. We'll put the stem in there. Git ignores is for Visual Studio. Licenses is important, guys. Always choose a license. If you don't know what license to choose, I think GitHub can actually tell you which is the best license for you, but I always go for this MIT license. You can always click here at this eye to sort of help you choose a license. Just go through these workflows. But I normally just choose MIT. That means whatever I do, it's out for the community. The community can decide. It's everyone's code, as long as you're not making money off this thing. Alright, so job card V next. We've sort of created this repository. Everything's fine. So I think next thing we need to do is to create some structure. What's the first thing we need to do? And I think some of the best ways of doing this structure is having a source control folder where we're going to put some source code in. I don't know if it's beneficial to put in the current source code because that's a bit proprietary, I would say. Although I've live streamed it, it doesn't really matter anymore. Let me think about it. But for now, I'm just going to keep it offline. Maybe have some screenshots of these actions. What's this? This action. Oh, this is the actual workflows. That's quite interesting. We might be using that. That's quite cool. Right. So, where are we doing? What are we doing? So let's clone this guy. I'm gonna be humiliating my typing skills again. Great, so I've got that. I've got job card V next, which is that one. So what we need is let's call this assets maybe. Let's call it lowercase. Some source. That is it, I can say. For now, at least. Git push, nothing to commit. Ooh, okay. Everything up to date. Actually, this is how Git works. I need something in there to be able to to be able to throw it in there. So let's put in like a file to do. We can put this in there. Okay. current spec. Great. And then at assets, we'll do a few screenshots of the application. Oh, it's open already, I suppose. So this is the main application. Let's just keep it like this. It's a screenshot thing. Good. How do I take a snippet now? OneNote. Web clipper. That's what I want. That's a web clipper. Really? Is that snip per? Did you make a this one? There we go. Snipping tool. Alright, so we're gonna do that. This is the main screen. We save this guy into the folder. Call this main. Company Connect, I would say. And then if you connect your company, you log in, which is not really important, but just annoying. New login screen. Okay. We sign in. My information. Remember that my information has two types. Just have to company general. We need to go to users. Okay. So blur on again, go to my customers. See, do this. Well, that helps. It just creates a normal non-blurred thing, which is kind of not what I want. So let's just do this. I've got a different idea. Let's search for something. Take the blur off. And there we go. That's the customers page. That's the customers list. See, new customer is the same as, should be the same. New customer private. And company. Which is not, it's a subtle difference, but it's an important difference. Okay, what do we have next? Nope. We have job cards. Let's no changes there, just complete it. Gonna do this screenshot like this. Job card list, and also you can search and view and stuff like that in there. And this is where it gets interesting. Make a few screenshots here today. General tab. That's the really problem detail. Screenshots for timesheets. Interesting, it takes away my copy paste. Okay, travel mileage, almost there. So what we can do is later on just do a story afterwards. And notes it's just a note thing. I'm just checking out what's happening here. There we go. This is notes. Great, so we've got our assets, model visual assets, I would say. The rest is a bit, I would say I won't put the rest in. Alright, great. So now, can I do that now? All the time I'm going to be adding my user and password. That's going to be annoying. Great. So we'll do a quick F5 here. It should be online. So my assets and stuff. There's all the stuff I need to sort of do. So what I'll do is I'll just update the README file. So that the general idea is now on GitHub. What we could do is also create a is it dev dot? want to create a Azure DevOps organization. Yeah, stay standing. That's fine. How do we create a new project? Yeah, new organization. Right. So let's call this. Probably can change the name, right? I'd like to prefix everything of awesome job card. Serverless job card, cloud job card, or job cloud, job card cloud. Let's just call it for that for now. That's fine. Oh, the organization. What should it be? It's a bit of a funny thing. How do we need organization? Let's call it community. Let's see. Call my own. Yeah, maybe just make my own organization. That's maybe better. Already taken. Really? Okay, so Reynders OSS. Call this a job card cloud. While the thing is busy doing its thing. I've got a yay, welcome to the project summary. So for now we won't have any boards. I think we're actually a bit over time. We've got a wiki, we've got our boards, we've got a repo. Now a repo, I want to be linking it to a current one. I don't want to be creating another one again. So how do we do that? We need to import a repository. Can't we just link it though? That's the other thing. Because this will just funny because it didn't ask me what source code I'd like. How do we change this though? Probably somewhere in settings. We'll see. Things has changed. What's this pull request? No, that's not what I want. I know for a fact this is not what we want, because if we're going to be importing our repository, it's not really I need to be connecting GitHub to, yeah, let's see.
Under the rain, I see glowing street lights blurring the pain. Children on the corner staring as I drive away. Handprints on the window, they all fade.
Andrew Locke is a hero. Let's just say what's create a new DevOps account. That's what I've done. Okay, so I think what we should do is can this idea of an organization. Maybe delete this one. I don't know how I'm going to be deleting this project. Delete project. Alright, this is what I want, so. Job card cloud. Description I'll fill in later, we'll make it public. Version control, Git. What are we going to choose? Scrum or Agile? What's the difference? So Scrum has epic features, product backlogs, and impediments. Agile has epic feature, user story, and task issue. I think Agile is much better. Let's go Agile, create project.
And the cold wind wonders how they became, wishing for an end,
Let's see what happens.
hoping one day it'll change, praying for the flesh and the blood to fill them. Have you ever
Okay, so it's the same problem we have now, so we need new Okay, I see, so your repo, okay, this is how it works. You don't link it here, you link your build to your repo. So we're not using the repos in Azure DevOps yet. We could link them, but it looks like your builds, create a new pipeline build for instance, there, this is what I want. Where is your code? Well, okay, it's in GitHub. I can authorize with OAuth. This is what I want. Yes, that's fine. And there's tons of things here. It'd be cool to have a search, right? So I can actually go job card, the next. Aha, so there's my build template. Okay, so I'm actually not going to do this right now because I actually need to put some thought into it. But for now, we've got a organization set up. We've got work items that we'll add later on during the week or so. Yeah. What else is there to share here? I think GitHub is for now the best place to put it, because you know repos. Well, we could do this also in because this is public, right? So we can do what we want. But I think for open source, GitHub is maybe a better option to host that stuff. You know, maybe just use the builds in Azure DevOps, maybe the tests and the packages. Another thing that we need to do is also create a action points that we will actually do. See how do we do it next time. So next, I would say. So next time we most probably will be doing a solutions architecture on how we're gonna be doing this application, maybe with someone else, a colleague or friend of mine will maybe join in. Then we'll see how we're going to be splitting this thing up and what technologies is the best for certain facets of the application. From that, maybe we'll also scope it a bit more, I would say. And then I think the next episode will be more maybe Azure focused, to set up more infrastructure there. So in any case, I hope you enjoyed this first Sprint Zero show. It was fun, and like I said, it's the first episode of many episodes. I wish to sort of do some more live coding. Maybe the aim is to work on one system to see it evolve, where it was and where it is or where it can go. I'm actually interested about that. But in any case, thank you very much for joining, and I appreciate it. And till next time, let's see if we can do this next Wednesday again. Cheers.